Hello everyone, I'm Jack Fisher and welcome to my world. And over the past few months, I've been eagerly following the emergence of another world, an all-new, all-different ultimate universe. This world has followed a bold new path. That path, however, was a direct result of disruptions and manipulations by the Maker. He tried to mold this new universe to his will, and that meant preventing every major superhero team from forming, from the Avengers to the Fantastic Four to the X-Men to Spider-Man. But fittingly, there was one place in this new Marvel universe that fiercely resisted his agenda: the nation of Wakanda. But even after the defeat of the Maker, the order he created still has their sights on this secluded African nation. Ultimate Black Panther #1 gave us a glimpse into a familiar but unique vision for Wakanda. T'Challa is still the king, and he rules alongside his wife Okoye. But they were both aware that their homeland was a target. And in a daring move by Khonshu and Ra, two powerful members of the Maker's Council, Wakanda was attacked. It was devastating and cost many lives, most notably T'Challa's father, T'Chaka. While he tried to resist pursuing conflict before, T'Challa now knows that war is inevitable. And Ultimate Black Panther #2 picks up while both he and Wakanda are still reeling. But it's also painfully clear that there's no turning back now. As a king, he must act. And writer Bryan does not shy away from the uglier aspects of war and civil unrest. Wakanda might be an advanced nation flushed with vibranium, but it's as vulnerable as any society to chaos and outrage when tragedy strikes. We see Wakandan citizens being imprisoned and interrogated. We also see crowds protesting in the streets, outraged at the attacks as well as the king's response to them. It's a powerful manifestation of the old saying, heavy is the head that wears the crown. And despite being stronger than most, T'Challa shows real fear and concern while he's wearing this crown. Not from the war itself, but whether he's able to be the king he needs to be for his home. It's a solemn but fitting moment, because he's not just a king, he's a man whose father was among the first casualties in this war. That makes it very personal to him. Okoye even helps remind him of that. She also plants a seed of caution, advising him to be careful of whatever advice or insights he receives. It may just seem like good advice, but it's also appropriate given the nature of this new Ultimate Universe. It once had a strong established order, courtesy of the Maker. He may have been demented and unhinged, but he kept the chaos in check. And that kept Wakanda safe to some extent. Except now that order is gone, and keeping Wakanda safe just became a lot more complicated. So with this tidbit in mind, T'Challa visits Voodoo Khan. They're like spiritual guides, prophets, and advisors. They offer advice and visions. But the accuracy and reliability of that information is not yet clear. All they can offer for now is a vision of him meeting a woman of light, sharing a bond with her, and having a child that will ultimately lead Wakanda into a new era. Now, is that woman of light Okoye? That is T'Challa's first instinct, and it does seem logical. But thus far, it's been established that there's not much romance between him and Okoye. Sure, he trusts her and she grounds him, but the bond they share, we honestly don't know how deep it goes, and Okoye herself warned him not to trust all the insights he gets from others. Despite this, T'Challa still has to act. Khonshu and Ra are already making their move. Their forces are at Wakanda's border, and even with skilled warriors combined with tech from Princess Shuri, they still struggle. But once their king arrives on the battlefield in full Black Panther gear, they rally behind him. And even if Khonshu and Ra have the vast resources of the Maker's Council, it's still not enough. But we quickly learn that these two aren't foolish enough to think that they can conquer Wakanda with brute military force. No matter what Marvel universe you're in, that tactic never works. But Khonshu and Ra do have other cards to play. We learn that they're working with a mysterious figure, one who looks strikingly similar to the figure T'Challa saw during his visit to Voodoo Khan. Now, we still don't know much about this figure, but whoever it is, they claim to have a spy within Wakanda. And they have a vested interest in seeing T'Challa's reign end. They even have a plan in place. Khonshu and Ra might not fully trust this individual, but if it means Wakanda falls one way or another, they're willing to give it a chance. And this insight makes T'Challa's next meeting with his war council a lot more tense. And suddenly that advice Okoye gave him earlier feels a lot more relevant. Even though Wakanda hasn't fallen yet, T'Challa already senses there's more to this attack than another misguided conquest. He believes that Khonshu and Ra could not have succeeded as much as they have without help. Whether he suspects anyone in his inner circle isn't clear. Now personally, I certainly have my theories after reading this issue, but I'm skeptical of every one of them, which is usually a sign that none of them are right. It's still too early to say, but if a traitor is in their midst, T'Challa already has a plan of his own. He wants to go after Khonshu and Ra directly. He even thinks he has intel on their location. That's really all the incentive T'Challa needs to fight this battle solo, listing only Shuri for support. Tactically speaking, it's risky and bold, but that's exactly the kind of mission where Black Panther thrives the most. If he has a chance to end this war by himself, he's going to take it. That's why he's the king. That's why he's a hero. And in a world where the Maker prevented so many other heroes from emerging, Black Panther's presence has a lot more weight here. He has no friends in the Avengers, the X-Men, or any other superhero team to turn to. He and the whole of Wakanda are truly on their own this time. It offers the kind of unique stakes that just aren't possible outside this new Ultimate Universe. Even though the aesthetics and the characters are familiar, the circumstances are still unique. And the tension is far greater. That tension only escalates even more once T'Challa's bold plan encounters a complication. On his way to confront Khonshu and Ra, his cloaked aircraft crashes. This lands him deep in enemy territory, surrounded by enemy forces. And he's all alone. No Wakandan army, no fellow Avengers, nobody. Even for a king, even for the Black Panther, it's too much. He cannot get out of this alone. But then, in what feels like a perfect payoff from that vision at Voodoo Khan, a familiar figure enters the battle to save T'Challa. She comes in the form of a woman made of light. T'Challa may not recognize her, but pretty much everyone who's been reading Marvel Comics since the 1970s sure does. It is the weather goddess herself, Storm. We only got a brief glimpse of her in the first issue, but now she appears to us in all her divine glory, and T'Challa is understandably in awe. It's a hell of a way to end the issue. It's also curious in many respects, because we already knew Storm was going to be part of this series. Even before the first issue, it was revealed through solicits and through interviews that Storm was going to be romantically linked to Killmonger. But the events here may complicate that, because the vision at Voodoo Khan says that T'Challa will meet and bond with a woman of light. They'll have a kid together, and that kid will be the future of Wakanda. But just how accurate is that vision? What exactly is Storm's role in this conflict? And what about Killmonger? How does he fit into all this? These are a lot of unanswered questions to muse, but there are plenty of tantalizing details to process. The first issue fired the initial shots of this war, but Ultimate Black Panther #2 had it escalate. And now, with Storm entering the picture, it's sure to become much more complicated, but in the best possible way. Already, this series has been epic and dramatic. Now, a hefty dose of mystery and tension has been added. In just 2 issues, Ultimate Black Panther has already achieved the kind of cinematic spectacle you don't usually get outside the Marvel Cinematic Universe. And for this burgeoning new Ultimate Universe, it makes for a hell of a ride. And I, for one, look forward to seeing where it takes us. Thanks for watching, everyone, and thanks for joining me in my world. Please remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and until next time, take care and stay safe.